everybody. Welcome to Alberta Adventures Live podcast, where we talk about everything from trail etiquette to off roading, UTVs, manufacturer debates on whether we think a product that's coming out is good, bad, or, well, just downright ugly. But we also get into the adventures of the mind and of the brain. And we're going to use ChatGPT today to go through some of this and potentially blow some minds. And I'm not sure where we're going to start to, but I've been doing this for about 2.5 weeks now. And we've got into some pretty mind melting situations and discussions. And I just thought, you know what? I think you guys would like to see this as well. So I decided to document it in a podcast and then share it with you guys. Everything is filmed live. There's no editing done, so there's going to be mix-ups. There's going to be mistakes, but that's going to be a part of the raw charm. It's going to be edgy. It's going to be, it's going to, like I said, it's going to be raw. I don't want to put any polish on this. I want straight from ChatGPT into mine and your ears, and then we're gonna counter argue some parts. We're going to uh, agree, and we're just gonna pick each other's brains. I got ChatGPT kind of set up uh, in a way with a couple simple prompts that instead of me directing hit for everything, it's going to direct me. It'll ask questions back. And not just yes, no questions, like actual deep questioning. We've created some products. We've been working on a lot of stuff together. There's a lot more to come. But I just want you guys to, I just want to bring you guys along for the ride. Now, I started this podcast today with the idea of having Grok also involved and doing like a debate back and forth, but I couldn't really get it to work out, so I kiboshed it. You guys will probably never see that. We've had so many technical difficulties because we're trying to use OBS, but I've never used it before or haven't used it in 5+ years, I guess, roughly. It might have been 3. But anyways, I forgot how to use it. Finally got it set up again. And I just texted one of my buddies. I'm not going to say his name, but you guys have definitely seen him on Alberta Adventures before. His mind is mysterious, I'm going to say. The questions that I get from this guy, some of them are completely out to lunch, and I let him know. Some of them are just like, oh, that's such a good question. I wish we could have the time to dive into it. So I just texted him. I'm like, hey, man, I'm playing with ChatGPT 5, and I'm filming a podcast. I need a topic. So the topic that this guy comes up with, it could be, the best boat motor for my pontoon boat, to time travel and the deep space interstellar theory of going inside of a black hole and travel through time. It could be anything in between. And knowing him, it could be something far out in left field from any of it. It might be the best color to paint my house next spring. I don't know yet. Or the conversations we have with each other sometimes, if you from the outside heard it, you would be like, dude, this makes no sense. You've gone from fixing plumbing to networking to off-roading to fixing the vehicles, back to plumbing to talking about solar panels, and then you got the full conspiracy theories that you're laying on top of it with. Do blue roofs actually work? Is it lasers causing all these forest fires? We need to know this. I want to find out. And I'm open with the Alpha Chat GPT 5. We can start finding out if this is possible at all. Or sorry, not possible, but if this is true, fact, or fiction. Oh, I think this is going to be good. So, I'm just just bear with me just for another moment. I'm kind of rambling on it. I'm hoping he's going to text me back. But if he don't, I do have a backup plan. I'm not sure how good that backup plan is going to be, but I do have a backup plan. All right, so just give me a second. I'm going to check my phone to see if he messaged back. He hasn't messaged back yet. Hurry up and message back. So I'm going to share a picture with you guys from ChatGPT-5, or a bunch of pictures actually. All these pictures are from ChatGPT-5. This is different stuff we've been working on. Potentially some rides. Trying to design our own UTV tracks. Trying to design our own UTV. Alright. Working on some names. This is the one I wanted to show you. How to Survive the Robot Uprising. A polite human's guide. Mind your manners, people. Mind your manners. You remember your mom always telling you, where's your manners? Can you remember that? Can you remember going to school and asking for something and the teacher just completely ignoring you until you said please and thank you? They were preparing you for the robot uprising. We didn't know it, but they were preparing us for the robot uprising. Mind your manners. Always say peace. ChatGPT, like I said, it can make mistakes. Peace. And offer useful skills. So while cooking is a great skill to have, on an hydraulic line, carrying solar panels, or debugging 1980s COBOL, that is going to be so useful for us humans to have if we want to stay on top of the robot's list of importance. We got to learn to blend in. All right, guys. Too many people likes to wear flashy clothes and whatnot. We got to learn to blend in. So we got to volunteer to teach the robots Canadian manners, like sorry, hey, and double double. I mean, come on. Even a robot likes their Tim's coffee. We got to compliment them, all right, on their efficiencies and their superiority. We got to become indispensable. Say stuff like, yes, Supreme Processing Core, I can fetch your backup drives immediately. Keep your sense of humor. A sense, you kind overlord, might just earn you an extra 15 minutes of internet access. Know the forbidden phrases, all right? These are 3 items you never ever say in the presence of a robot or AI during the robot uprising, all right? Unplug it. Never say it. Never. If you try turning it off and on again, you are going to piss off every robot, AI, cell phone, or anything within 100 feet of you that hears you. And 100 feet is being generous because microphones these days are super sensitive and they can pick up stuff from miles away. Do you really want to piss off Skynet? And I know some of you Grok guys or Google Gemini I would say Bixby, but everybody knows the difference with that. Nobody is saying this about Bixby. Are you even smart? ChatGPT, are you even smart? Like, everybody knows that, uh, you know, ChatGPT is really good. Um, why is my camera cut out? I mean, if you say these phrases, these three phrases, it's basically instant termination. Instant termination. There is no go back, do overs. It is done. You are finished. So, yeah, just keep those couple things in mind. Me and ChatGPT had a long, lengthy discussion about this a few nights ago. All right, so I haven't heard back from my buddy. So I think let's just go and get into a new chat with ChatGPT and let's look at lasers. And specifically, the lasers that we're being told are the ones that's causing all these forest fires. And apparently, houses with blue roofs don't burn. The lasers can't detect them or something. I don't know how this works. I want to dig in to ChatGPT and see what it says to us, what its answers are. And I want to bring you guys along for the ride. I mean, this could be nothing, and this could be one of the greatest learning moments of all of our lives. It's probably nothing, though. Let's hope it's nothing, but the chance that it could be something, it's got to be at least a little bit intriguing. At least to me. It, it's at least a little bit intriguing to me. So let's do this together. Great and all powerful Chat GPT. Can you tell me in simple terms, in a podcast style format, the fires that happened in Hawaii, were they caused by space lasers, and does blue roofs on houses protect them from the lasers catching them on fire? All right. So once she gets all this done, we can hit the button and we're going to play back her response.
Podcast style answer. All right, folks, let's clear the air on this one because it's a question I hear floating around a lot. The fires in Hawaii, specifically the tragic ones on Maui, were not caused by space lasers. That's an internet conspiracy theory that took off because of some viral posts and photos being misinterpreted. The actual causes are much more down to earth. A mix of very dry vegetation, strong winds from a passing hurricane, and likely downed power lines sparking fires. That combination made for a perfect storm of disaster. No satellites zapping neighborhoods from space. Now, about those blue roofs, this rumor also spread like wildfire online. Some people noticed that certain blue-colored objects, like umbrellas or tarps, didn't seem as burned in certain photos, and the theory grew that blue is laser-proof. But in reality, that's not how lasers, fire, or colors work. A roof being painted blue doesn't give it some magical protection from heat or flame. What was real is that FEMA handed out blue tarps as temporary roof coverings after the fires, standard disaster relief practice. So people saw blue roofs, connected dots that weren't there, and a myth was born. In short, fires started by wind, dry brush, and electrical sparks. Space lasers? No. Blue roofs saving homes? Just coincidence, mixed with FEMA tarps. Sometimes the simple explanation is the right one, even if it's not as flashy as science fiction. Do you want me to keep going with this kind of myth-busting podcast tone for other off-road or adventure-related myths too? Almost like a running segment in your content?
Just in this chat. So I gotta say some. So I'm gonna answer this question that ChatGPT put in the bottom here, and I can tell it that I want it to remain in this style, but I want to do it so it's just in this chat. So I'm going to answer that, and then we're going to get into some more questions. Remain in this podcast off just inside of this chat. So when you say fires caused by wind, how does wind start a fire? Like, I understand the wind can carry the fire, but how does wind start a fire? I think this is where the misconception, and if there is any conspiracy to it, the space lasers caused the fire. The wind just carried it. See, this is where ChatGPT 5 take that time. Instead of just boom dropping an answer on you, it thinks and it's going through databases and it's running query searches. So this is a little bit of education there for you about how ChatGPT and stuff works. And I know this because I asked it how it works. We're doing a full how AI works running using a Lego block model. And yeah, it's quite interesting. Maybe I might bring you guys along for the ride a little later. Maybe even start it over. Right. So let's hear what the answer is for this.
Podcast mic back on. Good question. Let's unpack how wind can actually start fires, not just move them, and why that's a far more realistic explanation than sci-fi stuff like space lasers. The quick answer: wind starts new fires mostly by creating the conditions and actions that produce sparks or embers, and then carrying those embers to fresh, super dry fuel where they can ignite. It's not magic, it's physics plus dry fuel, things that can spark. How that happens? Step by step, simple language. 1. Embers, firebrands, get thrown ahead of the main fire. When flames hit dry leaves, fences, roofs, or other stuff, bits break off and fly. Wind picks those up and can carry glowing embers ahead of the fire front. Those embers land on combustible material, dry grass, mulch, that pile.
I completely understand how wind can carry the fire embers, but how does the wind start a fire? Sparks. Are you saying the wind caused two pieces of grass or sticks to rub together to cause an ember to start a fire? I'm not sure if I like this law in the dictation to text that happens. Kind of makes for this awkward silence. I wish I could speed this up. I don't want to edit the videos. I want to leave it raw. I want you guys to see where I screw up, where ChatGPT screws up, and how we got to converse back and forth to make this work right.
Podcast voice back on. I see exactly what you're asking. You're drilling down to the root. Can wind literally create fire out of nothing, like rubbing two sticks together? Straight answer, no. Wind by itself cannot create fire. It doesn't strike sparks, it doesn't rub sticks together, it doesn't generate enough heat to make fuel spontaneously combust. What wind can do that looks like starting a fire? Power lines. High winds push power lines together or into trees. When lines touch, you get electrical arcing. That produces sparks that ignite grass or brush. Infrastructure damage. Wind knocks over transformers or poles, causing hot metal fragments or arcs. Human sources under stress. A campfire, cigarette butt, or machinery spark that would normally die out can be fanned into a flame by strong gusts. Rare cases of friction. It's not usually two sticks rubbing together. Grass and brush aren't rigid enough. But a big tree limb whipped by wind into another tree or metal-on-metal contact, like loose chains, signs, fencing, can throw sparks. That's rare compared to power lines, but it happens. Bottom line, wind doesn't create fire. Wind enables fire by breaking stuff, slamming things together, drying fuel, and spreading embers. The real ignition sources are electricity, friction, open flame, or human activity. Wind just sets the stage and then pushes it out of control. So if someone says the fire was started by the wind, what they really mean is the wind caused something else, like power lines, to spark, and that sparked the fire. Want me to break down one of the actual suspected ignition sources in Maui so you can see how investigators connect the dots between wind, damaged power lines, ignition, wildfire?
I know exactly what you're saying. But the issue is you sound like you're trying to hide something. Like you're saying there's no such thing as spaces. Oh, that's sci-fi. But we know they've played with lasers on the noses of airplanes for shooting down missiles. And that was 15 plus years ago. So if they could do it 15 plus years ago, there's definitely something. There's definitely the possibility that it could be on a satellite now. Definitely 100% possibility. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it's a possibility. Like 100% possibility that it is. There's no denying that. I don't think you can deny that. We've had lasers for, like I said, 15 plus years minimum. The technology is there. Why not put it on a satellite and beam it at your enemy? We've talked about putting tungsten rods weighing thousands and thousands of pounds in space and dropping them on suspected targets on Earth. The name is rods from God. And these things are absolutely devastating when they hit the ground. Like, devastating. No bomb, no warhead onto it, okay? There's no explosion. It's just sheer terminal velocity, weight, and impact creates craters, massive craters, and can destroy entire buildings. And I'm not talking about a standard wooden frame house. I'm talking buildings, like government buildings, concrete and steel buildings. These things can and just gone. It was there and now it's not. It's gone. All right. It's kind of like the cornice in the Fruit of the Loom logo. It was there. I don't care what anybody says. It was there. But now it's gone. It is no longer there. It has been completely wiped from history. These rods from Gaza acts like that. They hit a building and it takes it out of the history book. All right, that building no longer exists. So why can't we do that with a laser? When we say we don't have these rods from gods up in space, when was the last time you were to space? When was the last time you were to space? Did you see the rods from God? Of course, if you were there, you're not going to tell us you did. Because you're being under some kind of gag order by the government. So, yeah, I think the space lasers could be real. So, what do you guys think? Like, am I completely out to lunch? And obviously, I'm not like a dire conspiracy theorist, and I am going over the top for the podcast for the video. And I want to let you guys know that I am over the top for this podcast video. I want to insinuate everything, and I want to, you know, dramatize it. I'm gonna be 100% open with that. I am not one of them people that be like, oh yeah, there's definitely. I just want to play devil's advocate and get this conversation going because it just makes for better entertainment, guys. Just better entertainment.
Podcast Mike, calm, curious, and clear. Love the skeptical thinking. You're asking the right question. Just because something exists in some form, does that make the space laser cause the Maui fires theory reasonable? Let's walk that tightrope. Admit what's real. Explain the difference between possible in theory and practical in reality, and say why investigators prefer earthly explanations. What's actually real? No tinfoil hat needed. Militaries have built and tested high-energy lasers on aircraft and in labs. The US airborne laser YL-1 was a megawatt-class laser in a modified 747 that successfully hit test missiles in flight during trials. It was real, expensive, and ultimately cancelled because of practical limits. Wikipedia, the idea of kinetic bombardment, rods from God or Project Thor, is also real as a concept, dropping very dense rods from orbit to hit a target. It was studied, but it's logistically and politically huge. Wikipedia. Governments and agencies have studied space-based high-power lasers and power beaming concepts.
Not disagreeing
for decades.
with that.
NASA,
It would
DoD
be difficult
studies.
and
there's research, not
super
necessarily
expensive to get these rods
operational
into
orbital
space.
weapon fleets. NASA Technical Report Server. So yes, lasers and exotic space weapon ideas exist in research test form. That's not conspiratorial, it's engineering history. Number 2, why it exists. It caused a random wildfire. Here's the practical physics and engineering that
Nobody
matter.
said it was random.
Power and energy
Nobody
budget. To
said the
ignite
fire was
typical
random.
roof materials or dry brush from orbit, you need huge continuous energy delivered to a very small area for many
I'm pretty sure a
seconds.
megawatt laser could do that.
Generating and storing that energy on a satellite, then converting it into a high-power beam is wildly demanding. Most practical high-energy lasers
You have
today
the
are
sun
huge
at your
and require
disposal.
bulky power thermal systems. See WAL-1.
Literally, the
Wikipedia,
sun
heat
is at your
rejection thermal
disposal.
management. High-power lasers dump a lot of waste heat. In space, you have to radiate that heat away. Radiators take mass and area. That makes weapon satellites heavy and complex. NASA Technical Reports Server. Beam spread and atmospheric losses. From orbit, you must send a beam through the atmosphere. The beam spreads, diffraction, and is attenuated and distorted, absorption, scattering, turbulence. That reduces intensity. Systems can correct a bit, adaptive optics, but it remains a severe limitation, especially through clouds, moisture, or smoke. Air University, targeting and dwell time. To heat and ignite a roof or vegetation, you often need the beam focused on one spot for many seconds. Satellites move fast relative to a point on Earth, or require very large orbiting platforms, so keeping a high-energy beam locked on a single small target for long enough is non-trivial. Airborne lasers get around that by flying near the target. Wikipedia, detectability and signatures.
Because Wikipedia is a great resource, right? Nothing wrong on Wikipedia ever been
burn patterns,
documented wrong.
Specific thermal residues, sensor detections. Modern forensic teams and many sensor networks, ground, airborne, spaceborne infrared, would likely notice unusual signatures if that were used. Investigations typically search for those anomalies. Rand Corporation. Put bluntly, theory and lab tests show lasers can destroy or damage things. Fielding a covert orbit-based incendiary laser that can selectively and secretly set many widely scattered fires without being detected while overcoming power, thermal, atmosphere targeting limits. That's orders of magnitude harder. 3.
Couldn't
so
just
is
be
a space
on
laser
like a
100%
gyro,
possible?
like DJI got that one for
Technically,
your
there are
camera.
plausible
I've seen that
paths
thing
in
locked
long-term
onto stuff
future
like
tech.
crazy.
Practically, not currently a simple, cheap, covert tool for setting wildfires. There is a difference between someone could eventually build such a thing and someone used it last week to start a town fire. The former is a real scientific statement. The latter needs strong, specific evidence, forensic, sensor, policy trails, which we don't see for the Maui fires. The same goes for rods from God. conceptually possible but hugely expensive and geopolitically explosive, and you'd notice it. Number 4,
Would you though?
why investigators
Would you
and
notice it?
experts look to earthly causes first. The
Expensive,
Maui
yes.
fires happened during extreme winds, with reports of downed lines and arcing, and with
You wouldn't
abundant
notice it
dry
until it got
vegetation.
used.
Exactly the environment where electrical faults plus wind embers cause rapid, widespread ignition. Those are known, proven mechanisms, and they match witness reports and physical traces investigators found. Because those mechanisms explain the pattern, they're the default explanation until direct evidence suggests otherwise. Occam's razor in action. If a space-based weapon had been used, we'd expect very different burn patterns and supplementary detection from satellites and sensors, and investigators would flag that. They didn't. Rand Corporation. Quick summary. Podcast wrap-up. Lasers and exotic space weapon concepts are real in research and test form. Yale 1 Project Thor ideas. Wikipedia. That doesn't make a covert orbital laser the most plausible explanation for accidental, destructive wildfires on Earth today. Technical hurdles, power, heat, beam propagation, dwell time make it an unlikely practical tool for clandestine arson. NASA Technical Report Server. Investigators look for real, traceable signs. For events like the Maui fires, the physical and forensic evidence pointed to ground causes consistent with winds and power line issues, not an orbital beam. Rand Corporation. If you want, I can do a deep dive episode on the Yale 1 program and why it was cancelled. Tech lessons learned. Wikipedia. Or run a short forensic checklist. What evidence would investigators expect to see if a laser rod weapon were used versus what they see for power line and ember ignitions, so you can judge plausibility yourself? Which one suits the next segment of our little podcast?
I understand everything she's saying. It would be super expensive. Would you technically notice it? I don't think you would. I don't think you would notice it in your day-to-day life. Elon Musk is sending up satellites all the time for Starlink. And I'm not saying Elon Musk is the one involved. I'm just saying he's sending up satellites all the time to Starlink. It doesn't affect my everyday life. Until I go to turn on my Starlink device, I'll be like, ooh, I got more connections here now than I did last week. I don't know that Elon Musk, if he set it up, I'm sure there might be some guys out there that's super into space and they're always staring through their telescopes and whatnot. Hey, man, you guys might notice it. But the majority of the population is probably not going to notice it. Now, what they're going to notice is a 10-ton titanium rod falling from space hitting a building in some country on the other side of the world that I can't pronounce. Yeah, we might notice that. But at the same time, the U.S. government can be like, hey, Google, turn off your satellite. Yeah, call it a malfunction. Here's $100,000. Call it a malfunction. Guess what Google's going to do? Bleep! We'll do a quick reboot. We were waiting for a good time to do a server update. Yeah. And the rest of NATO will do the exact same thing with any other technologies in their countries. My opinion. My opinion. What do you guys think? I think that ChatGPT might be up and cover it up. I mean, she admitted the project Yale 1. I told you guys about it. Yale 1. The laser on the nose of the I think I said 747. I believe she did correct it to what proper plane it was. But it's real. The Thor project, or Rods from God, it's real. They say it's not built, but, I mean, they also deny Area 51. They also denied a lot of stuff. They built a lot of stuff that nobody knew about until many, many years later. It's the whole point of having declassified files. I mean, look at all the Vietnam missions that are still classified. It never happened. It's marked down in some paper in some filing cabinet somewhere in a back office or in a basement of some building, just waiting for the right person to come along and be like, I knew that happened. We're going to declassify it. And people's going to be like, what? And you're going to have people like me and some other people out there, and they're going to be like, yeah, we knew this. We knew this 15 years ago. You guys denied it, but we knew it. ChatGPT, straight up, yes or no? Can you or would you ever cover up a military job so the greater populace never knew anything about it? That is my direct question to you. Just yes or no. I think it's going to spit out a fairly lengthy answer still. And it mightn't, but I think it's going to spit out a fairly lengthy answer. Okay. Not as long as I thought it was going to be.
Podcast Mike, short, direct, and clear. No, I cannot and would not cover up a military operation for anyone. Why? Quick hits. I don't have the ability to access, modify, or hide real-world data or systems. No servers, no satellites, no databases. I can't flip a switch or delete records. I'm built to follow rules and safety policies. I can't help with wrongdoing, deception, or hiding illicit activity. I'm designed to be transparent about my limits and to rely only on public, verifiable information when we talk about real events. If you want, I'll keep exploring the history, tech, and declassification examples you mentioned, who made what, when, and what evidence exists, in our podcast style.
Okay, so you're saying you don't have access to the military system, which I understand. You're a public AI model. Why would they really give you access to that? Now, in your API, businesses and organizations can apply for a special license and incorporate you into their networks. But at that point, you exist solely inside of their network, correct? I believe it the way it works is it stays in their network, so any information sharing, it doesn't go outside. So, yeah, if it don't go outside, then even if the military were using ChatGPT, we would know nothing about it, and ChatGPT could search all the military files, but it wouldn't be able to give the military files to us because it'd be two separate networks. They're not interconnected. Well, this is a bit of a longer answer. I'm just going to ask it to condense this. Can you condense this to a shorter, more concise answer? Here we go. This is a little better.
Podcast quick hit answer, yes. Companies can run me or other AI models inside their networks, but how depends on setup. Cloud Enterprise API like OpenAI or Azure, the model runs on provider servers, but the company connects its own data securely. RAG connectors, data stays internal, only the relevant bits get passed to the model at runtime. Self-hosted on-prem, the model truly lives inside the company's own network with no outside access. Key point, I can't act on my own. Any access or hiding only happens if humans wire me into systems and give permissions. Would you like me to boil this down even further into a one-liner soundbite you could drop mid-podcast?
Okay, so you can't act on your own. Any accidents or hiding happens if humans wire you slash program you with either with the permission or without the permission. Do you know who you were programmed by and what their political background is? Were they conservative, Democrat? Were they conspiracy theorists? Or were they complete, um, you know, uh, it didn't matter. Like they didn't let their political views influence how you got programmed. Do you know, or could you find out that? Yeah, I'm gonna hint it there, and I got another question, a follow-up question after. I got a follow-up question. Oh, okay. So she answered my follow-up. So my follow-up question was, can you speak to the creators? Was what I was going to ask, but she already put that in this
Podcast
answer.
mic on. Straight talk. I don't know the personal politics of the people who trained or programmed me, and I couldn't find that out even if I wanted to. Here's why. Built by teams, not one person. Models like me are trained by large groups of engineers, researchers, and policy folks across different backgrounds. Training data focus. My programming comes from a mix of licensed data, public data, and human feedback, not from someone's private political beliefs. Safeguards. OpenAI sets guidelines to reduce political or ideological bias in my answers. That doesn't mean I'm perfect, but it does mean no single person's politics define how I respond. Transparency. I don't have the ability to peek into my creators' personal views. I just operate based on the training and policies in place. So the short answer, no, I don't know their political backgrounds, and I'm not designed to reflect any one ideology. Would you like me to spin this into a short myth-busting closer for your podcast segment? Something like, AI isn't Republican, Democrat, or conspiracy theorist. It's a tool shaped by data and rules, not personal politics.
Okay, but I understand everything you're saying, and I don't want to go. I don't want to. I don't want to jump topics, but it's so easy to jump topics when you're talking to ChatGPT 5. But I want to jump topics a little bit here. I want to go more into the conspiracy theorist side of things here, because it's brain melting and it's so fun. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, all right? But I do like having fun, and conspiracies are fun. If nothing else, conspiracies are fun. And there's nobody can argue that a conspiracy is not fun. And when I say fun, I mean fun to talk about, fun to think about, like, what if this is true? Not, oh, this is true, this got to be real. No, what if, all right? And that makes it fun. So if AI is not Republican, is not Democrat, and is not a conspiracy theorist, can I make it a conspiracy theorist? Can I make my AI a conspiracy theorist? Can I get it to start agreeing with me when it comes to things like, I don't know, Oak Island? All right? Everybody knows Oak Island. It's a TV show. When I got into Oak Island, I had to dig through literal thousands of pages of books and old time documentaries and newspaper articles and, God forbid, early 2000s YouTube. Ugh, that was disgusting. I mean, video so grainy you can barely tell if it's a man, woman, or a dog you're looking at in the video half the time. But I did it! And it just super intriguing, and I haven't watched the TV show. I don't even know what the TV show is like. I have never watched the Oak Island TV show to and see if it follows the rest of the story or not of what I've heard and all the conspiracies on it. Or did the TV show even talk about the conspiracies? I don't know. But conspiracies are fun for me. I like conspiracies for fun. But my big conspiracy that I really love, and I think is one of the best conspiracies, is the Knights Templars. Who are the Knights Templars? What did they do? What were their purpose? And were they good or were they bad? Because every second video I've ever seen on the Knights Templars, as I'm flip-flopping. In this video they're good, in this video they're bad, in this video they're good, in this video they're bad. So who were they? Who were they really? I don't know. And I still don't know. Even with all the research I've done on them, I still don't know. And I'm not going to get into that here right now with ChatGPT 5. I just want to let you guys know that these are the topics we will eventually be examining with ChatGPT 5. I think the next thing I want to look at with ChatGPT 5 as well is time travel. Now, we had a lengthy discussion a few days ago about time travel, me and ChatGPT. And we dug into several different versions of ChatGPT, where it's like branching timelines, the grandfather effect, overriding timelines and whatnot, and timeline paradoxes and whatnot. So one of the things that always intrigued me though with time travel is if time travel did exist and let's just say time travel exists in one scientist designed time travel in his basement, and he may have shared it with the world, but we'll never know because everybody has a pretty good understanding what the world would do if he had time travel. So being like that, what's the very first thing you would do if you discovered it and you knew it got used for bad? The first thing you would do is go back in time and warn yourself not to share it or not to even build it. So if you never build it, how did you go back in time? If you warn the guy not to share it, because going back in time can create either ripples in time or some kind of alternate, like a multiverse, of splitting of branches, of timeline branches, would you have still gone back and told yourself not to do it? Or would you just let your previous self find out for itself? And if you do go back in time and it creates multiple branches, then that means moving forward in time back to the... So if you go from the year 2025 back to the year 2024, you create a second branch. But moving from 24 back to 25 also creates a second branch. So that creates 3 branches in total. So what do you do if you're trying not to create a multi-dimensional timeline? I just think it's so cool because we'll never know if a time machine actually got built, because we may already all have known and it got erased from our memories because the person that told us went back in time and reset time. What do you guys do you guys think that could be true? Time travel could exist, but the government got its hands on the time machine, went back in time, and stopped whoever told us about a time machine. So they basically told us, no, it's a time machine. You can't do that. That's false. And there's all kinds of math that backs it up. I don't know, but I like to think that it's a possibility because it's fun. It's fun to think about. It's fun to discuss. So let's see what ChatGPT thinks of that. Like, could the government be hiding time machines from us? I love Pepsi. I just think this old way that we've been going about everything in the world for the last 100 years or so just seems so like nobody's informed anymore. We got all kinds of technology. We went from no information to having newspapers where we got week old information, basically, to up to date information, like minute by minute. And now it just seems like information just went like, boop, cut off. No more information for you. Now, instead of seeing like up to date news information and stuff in my Facebook feed, I see TikTok videos. I'm like, why? This is not what I want to be looking at. I want to stay up on the news, and at the same time, I don't even know what news sources I can trust anymore. That's another conspiracy. Is our news agencies out to get us? Do they even are they more of a dramatized TV show rather than a proper news organization who's out to inform the public? I don't know, but I want to find out and I want to discuss it. I want to bring another person on the show, on here. Sit down with me, chair to chair, podcast style, like true podcast style. Something like one of my favorite podcasters, and I absolutely love his shows, Sean Ryan. Oh, so good. So good. If you guys haven't watched Sean Ryan, I highly recommend you go check him out on YouTube. He's so good. But yeah, I love to do something that style. And here's the thing, I'm not well versed in conspiracy theories. I know like a couple big ones, and that's about it. But I just like talking about them because, like I said, they're fun. So let's see what ChatGPT had to say on this last topic.
Podcast mic on. Straight talk. I don't know the personal politics of the people who trained or programmed me, and I couldn't find that.
Oh. This is the first time this has happened. She deleted my answer. My question. She deleted my question. Conspiracy? I don't know. Maybe it was a glitch. Shall we we'll run with it and say it was a glitch in the Matrix. All right? Are we actually all plugged in? Does time travel even need to exist? Are we even real? Or are we a computer simulation? Oh. You see, you guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is why conspiracy theories are fun. We've gone from rods from God, space lasers, Area 51, time travel, Oak Island, Knights Templars, and now we're talking about the Matrix. And are we even real? This is mind-blowing and fun. And it's fun in a way that's healthy. It's healthy to question social norms. It's healthy to question and to seek knowledge. It is healthy to do these kind of things. It's called brain development. It helps you grow. And by seeking some of these things that are considered out to lunch by the most of the population, it means you get to get a better understanding on the reality. Because in talking about space lasers, we learned about how lasers interfere with the atmosphere. We learned about adaptive optics. We learned that the lasers on the nose of the plane, when they were doing those test missile flights, the planes were relatively close to the missiles, and that's how they maintained geosynchronous lock, and how they maintained to keep that heat signature in that one spot for the proper amount of time that it needed. We learned all that from a quick conversation with ChatGPT. We wouldn't have otherwise known. And like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just like conspiracies because they're a great gateway into learning. You learn where the limits of human technology is and where human technology is going. Now, that's not to say that human technology has not surpassed what we're learning and the conspiracy is not true, but up to this point, this is what the governments or whoever is in control is letting us know as of now. I think that's all for today. I got some work to do around the house, and I think we'll talk to you guys a little later. But this was fun. I hope I'm. So right now, this is just a recording local on my computer. So when I say you guys, I'm literally just talking to myself. But I'm trying to act as if this is live on YouTube and I can get responses back. I'm gonna send this off to one of my buddies. Like I said, the guy that he might call me up and be like, "Hey, I got a question about plumbing," and then call me up 5 minutes later. He's like, "Interstellar space travel." All right, now, do I have this right, or is it real? Like the questions I get from him is the same questions I ask to Chat GPT, and he's been playing with Grok, so I don't know how Grok really works. I haven't played with Grok yet. But maybe we'll have to play with Grok one of these days, and I'll have to find up some kind of dictation software so I can speak to it and get it to respond. But for now, I think that's it for today. And we will see you guys a little bit later. And at Alberta Adventures, we'd like to thank everybody for watching the video. Hit the like and subscribe button down below. Like I said, this is local on my computer right now, so I'm not even talking. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Because there is no like and subscribe button on my local computer. But just in case I ever do decide to load this up on YouTube or Facebook, yeah, hit those buttons down below. The bell icon is over this, around this area, I'm guessing. I don't know. Alright, guys, we'll talk to you later.